astronauts, and welcome back to Astro-Tarot Research. If you're new here, hi, my name is Brandi, and I like to combine tarot and astrological insights from my 15 years plus experience reading tarot and astrology to give you real world insights. Now, if you are someone who is in a sensitive place in your life, or if you're looking for maybe a little bit of external validation or a pick-me-up or something to make you feel good, this is not really the channel for you. I do want to make that clear. My predictions are grounded in all of my years of experience when using tarot cards and astrology. So I like to say what I see. Now, this week's reading is for my singles out there, and it is all about what your next relationship will look like. Now, if you're in a relationship and you're ready to just drop that relationship, you know what? Come back when you were officially single and then you can read and look at these cards. But obviously I can't stop you from, maybe getting a sneak peek look ahead. But this really is for the singles out here, and we're going to see, how you guys interact with each other. Is this person truly the best match for you? Is it looking like true love? We're going to see all about that. As usual, I have 5 piles to choose from, but before we get started, I'm obviously going to remind you to like, to comment, and to subscribe. A lot of you beautiful astronauts aren't subscribed, and I would really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell, because how else are you going to be notified when I go live? I go live on the weekends. I post a time in the community tab every Tuesday night, Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to just hop on, ask me a quick question, then you can do so. But if you don't want to do that, then you can show up for the lives and answer the polls, be there for the weekly collective. I also do astrological insights where I might talk about upcoming transits. I'm a transit girly. That's my favorite. And Nextra placements and all of that jazz. And then lastly, because I've been talking forever, at least it feels like it, if you want a private reading from me, link can be found in the description bar below. We can dive deeper into any questions that you have been contemplating, and we can see how tarot or astrology will guide you. So information can be found for that below. You can check out the Etsy shop, or you can book through my booking form, because I know some people just prefer to go that avenue. Now, let's jump into these piles. We have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, pile number 4, and pile number 5. So let's not waste any more time and just sit back, relax, and choose. Hey, pile number 1, my beautiful single, let's get into your next relationship and what it will look like. We have the Knight of Pentacles on the Shuffle Tarot deck, and you can see the Chariot attached to that, and they have a little zebra here. We have the Ace of Pentacles on the Before Tarot deck, and you see them receiving the Pentacle. We have the Queen of Pentacles here on the Before Tarot deck. I think a snake is giving her a Pentacle. And then we have the Ace of Cups, and then we have the, what should be reversed here, 7 of Wands reversed. Now, let's jump into this. So when we look at this Knight of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, we know that this relationship is coming from a place of blessings and abundance. At least that is what I see here with all of these pentacles in action. And I love to see it, because it's almost like when you first enter within this relationship, or maybe when you first get to know each other, you're both in this Knight of Pentacles place and Chariot combination, where you're making strides in your goals, career, success, money, whatever. The material areas that the Pentacles represent. And then the Chariot also connects to like travel, adventure. And you can see it on the zebra here. It's African safari going on there, where you guys may be in the space of traveling or even looking to travel. But whatever the case may be, you're focusing on that accumulation when it comes to the material world. And it's almost like when you guys meet each other, you give each other a leg up in your lives, whether that is just a meeting of the mind, whether you guys are just connecting networks. There we go. I was going to say net worth, but networks, but you could be connecting net worths too. And honestly, it's just as if you guys come together and you are able to go from this Knight of Pentacles to this Queen of Pentacles here, where you are receiving more abundance, more material worth, more luxury, more lavish-like experiences. And I just feel like you guys come together to generate a lot of the markers of success, or at least the markers of success within the society that you may live in. I know my viewers are international here. Now, for me, when I think of this, I think of like, oh, nice apartment, you get a better car, you know, that kind of makes sense, right? Because if you are living by yourself and you have a single income, you may not have a nice as a nice of apartment as you would if you were combining with someone else's income, right? So this might be something that is like mutual elevation for both of you. You know, that's the type of thing I'm talking about when I'm saying, okay, there's more abundance coming here. Or maybe you go from an apartment to a house. You go to maybe you end up paying off your car. Sometimes people have boyfriends or girlfriends and they're just like, their boyfriends and girlfriends might help them through a financial situation, like paying off a car, paying for college, paying for loans, whatever. That happens. Maybe that's happened to you. This can look like, for example, you strategize how to, you know, get recognized at work together. You guys are prepping to honestly give each other advice. You know, you have a yearly review coming up and you're like, okay, this is what you need to say, or you need to highlight these accomplishments. And remember, you told me about this, and you know, you're strategizing together, and this is something that can happen. Also, obviously, the Chariot, you know, he connects to that travel, that short trips. And this is what I was talking about, that maybe you find yourself having more flexibility when it comes to traveling on trips, you know, whether that be that, you know, one partner pays for certain trips, or maybe you guys split it and so the financial burden doesn't become as heavy, or whatever the case may be. But obviously the cards are indicating that there's more opportunities for travel and having more vacation time in your life, more flexibility. Another thing that can happen here is that you may find yourself just learning from each other financially. Sometimes you have people who are better at certain financial areas than others. Some people are really great at saving. Some people are really great at investing. Some people are fantastic at making money and, you know, being entrepreneurs and being in business, and they recognize different avenues in which they can generate ideas. And so to me, it feels like you are both handling this or coming at this from not just a romantic perspective, but there is an element of practicality here within your relationship. You know, not every pile is focused on that. You know, some piles just focus a lot more on the emotional intimacy, and I'm not saying they're not focused on those areas, but it's not coming up. You guys, it's very much coming up for, and that tells me that you guys are looking to align financially, and that's something that will be important for you within that relationship. All right, so that is what I want to say. More saving, more investing, more cutting out unnecessary expenses, combining lifestyles, upgrading naturally, nicer trips, restaurants, improved daily routines. Like all of this stuff is like less financial strain. The Queen of Pentacles is not exactly struggling, right? So this is what I'm talking about here when it comes to this relationship going on. Now, if we go into the Ace of Cups, I love this. The Ace of Cups is definitely representative of just a nicer emotional state. Like you feel healed, you feel renewed, you feel relaxed, you feel a little bit more laid back. Like I like the feeling of the Ace of Cups generally. There is a side to it, like there are with all cards. There's always shadow sides to things. Like, the Ace of Cups can represent just feeling a lot of emotions, and sometimes those emotions are overwhelming. And, that can happen within a relationship. Sometimes if you really love someone or if you really like someone, then this can feel like a new feeling to you. If you've never had those feelings before, then it's like, oh, wow, I don't think I've ever felt this deeply about someone. And I don't know particularly what to do with that. If I think about the Seven of Wands coming next, it's interesting because the Seven of Wands is almost, what's the word? It's like I can't fight the feeling, but I need to like do something about it. I need to address this somehow, right? The Seven of Wands is similar. Well, all reversals sort of take this sort of standpoint where it's not always about like the direct opposite where, upright the Seven of Wands is like I'm fighting and I'm defending myself and etc. The Seven of Wands converse can also represent defending yourself, etc. But it can represent that you are being a little bit more strategic about defending yourself, and it's less direct. It's more so, how can I use this moment to make myself look even better, But the point that I'm trying to make with this and saying that it's not always a direct opposite is that when we talk about the Seven of Wands reverse within this context, it's not necessarily saying that you're like, okay, now I'm going to be completely open and vulnerable. I'm no longer in this defensive state. It's more so like, okay, these are my feelings. I can't really hide them, but I'm not even quite sure how I should express it. It's not necessarily like, now I'm fully vulnerable. Otherwise, I'll be honest, we would have gotten different cards for that, guys. There's so many other cards too that might indicate complete and total vulnerability than the Seven of Wands reverse. But it's more so like, okay, I'm not going to act like a kid and say, okay, I hit this person, which means I like them. Meaning like I'm not going to try to push this person away. I recognize that. But at the same time, I'm actually not sure quite how to act around this person. Like it's the feeling there of being loved, of being appreciated, of caring for each other, but you're both trying to navigate exactly how you want to express it is kind of what I'm looking at here. You can't pretend to be neutral. You are noticing, you're checking your messages more often. You're remembering small details about this person. You know what this gives me? It gives me front end behavior. Like you want to pretend not to like them, but it's very obvious that you do. And but you don't want to push them away because you're like, oh, I actually like this person. And it's like, for some of you, I don't know, it feels almost like, I don't know if it's a full-blown power struggle, but it's like, oh, I'm trying to find this middle ground where I don't show too much of my emotions, where it doesn't feel too vulnerable for me, but at the same time, I'm not pushing them away and they don't think that I'm not liking them. Yeah. I don't know. It's a strange balance for you guys, but that's the sort of feeling of this Seven of Wands here. Like, let's keep things moving without feeling but I don't want to feel totally exposed. That's the feeling. I don't want to feel totally exposed, but I want to keep this relationship going and I want to keep this moving. All right. But I do feel like it's ultimately going to have to be you're ultimately going to have to come from this place of vulnerability and openness. And I just love how you guys interact with each other because it's very much like this power couple who, I don't know, you guys really enjoy the mundane parts of the relationship. It's not necessarily like, oh, it has to be thrilling. It has to be some adventure every day. Like when we have all of these pinnacles, the love is in the everyday moments of like, let me borrow your jacket and let's have a meal together and let's talk about our favorite show or book that we've read. It's it's very much like that. Or let me talk to you about work and what's going on there. And really much, and really like, a lot of it is just in experiencing each other's company. I say talk about it, but if I'm being quite honest, there's no swords here. And when we don't have a lot of swords, it's not like you guys are a particularly chatty couple. It's just more so that you enjoy being in each other's company. You generally, like, maybe you're like, let's do couples massages. Like, let's, I don't know, hold hands and go for a walk. Like, it's very much like we're enjoying each other's presence. We're enjoying being involved in each other's lives. We're enjoying uplifting each other. But we're not talking each other's ear off either. You know, this isn't the pile that's like, I'm going to text you throughout the day, but it's actually very funny because both of you will be like looking at your phones to see who's texting, like, you know, it's very funny because it's like, oh, we're seeing who's texting, but neither one of you are like big texters. And if you are, you know, I feel like maybe one of you are just like, let's meet, you know what I mean? Let's talk this through when we meet. But I don't see a lot of conflict here. I do like that neither one of you are very conflict prone. You're both very self-directed. You're both here to push each other to their limits, to make sure that you both feel like you're going after the things that you desire. And I just noticed that, you know, your affection is just very measured towards each other. Very strategic vulnerability as well in this way. But I do like it. You know, I like the fact there's a lot of respect here. There's a lot of, you know, let's align on our goals. Let's align on our lifestyles. Let's make sure that we have good financial habits and we're both going to the same trajectory. It makes sense for both of our lives, and very thoughtful. You know, it's not like let's just wing it. You know, it's very much like we have a plan and we're both aligned with it. But that's what I have for you, pile number one. I mean, it doesn't sound romantic, but obviously you're both very excited about this, or we wouldn't have gotten that Ace of Cups. But that is what I have, and hopefully this resonates. If not, you know, feel free to choose a new pile, new reader. If you want a private reading with me, link is in the description bar below. If you want to expand more on your next relationship or what's coming next for you in general, I am available for that. You can go through my Etsy shop, or you can go through my Google form, whatever is your preference. And then also, if you want to come to the lives and chat and look at the weekly collective and be a part of it. I mean, I shouldn't say look at it. You'd be participating in it. You know, you get to choose. Same with you pick a card here, you pick a card for the collective, and we see what's going on there. And also, what am I going to say here? There's something else. Oh, yeah. I mean, tune in next time. Become a member if you want to be a stargazer and you want to look at what may be happening monthly for you or the year ahead. Feel free to check in and become a stargazer. I do my best to upload it. And with stargazers, I am trying to test new content. So it is worth it to just, if you like my reading style, to go over there and become a member. But that's all I have for you. And I'll see you guys next time. Au revoir. All right. Here we go, pal. Number 2. What will your next relationship look like? We have the High Priestess and the Sun on the Shuffle Tarot deck. We have the Two of Swords on the Before Tarot deck. We have the Queen of Cups on the Before Tarot deck. We have the Eight of Swords reversed. And we have the Knight of Pentacles reversed. All right, okay. So, if we are looking into what this relationship looks like to me, you know, have you ever seen or heard that song by the B-52s where it's like, you're living in your own private Idaho? Like, that's the kind of vibe this gives me. Like, this is this is like your own private little world for you two to enjoy and have fun in, just because we have this unicorn, and normally the baby on the sun card is riding the unicorn and having fun and just being in the sun. But now, you know, the kid's inside. It's indoor recess time and the unicorn is resting. And to me, it feels like, well, one, if you guys are more so like homebound or homebodies, or this is what that is entailing. Other things that if you're not like that, like let's say you're more of an explorative person, you like going out. Well, this is kind of just saying that I don't think your friends or family are going to know a lot about the inner workings of your relationship, which is fine. You know, you don't have to tell every detail. But yeah, that's generally what the High Priestess is going to indicate here. And I just feel as though like you're having fun to yourselves. I don't know. It just feels like this is something, I don't want to say sacred, but it's just like, this is just between you two. This is like a lot of inside jokes. This is a lot of being in your own private world, operating within your own bubble as a couple, you know. It really does feel that way. Granted, I think the song with the B-52s might not have been the best example. I think that would have been about paranoia as I think about the lyrics. But the point I'm trying to make is that this is more so you're just living in your own world. That's the main thing. Okay, it's not a feeling. It's not a feeling of being involved in the outside world. Okay. And I really do feel a way, I feel like, especially since we have this Two of Swords card, it's not the most proactive card, is it? It's usually a card connected to stalemates. And when we have the Two of Swords on the Before Tarot deck, you can see she is cutting herself off away from the world. She is blinding herself. She is pulling away from the noise. And so when we look at this in terms of a relationship, this is like, I'm not listening to relationship advice from friends, from family, the internet, whatever. I'm going to do my own thing. And, you know, that could be good. That could be bad, whatever. Within this relationship, I do feel like it's more good, only because we have this Queen of Cups, and that can represent emotional maturity. And then when we have the Eight of Swords reversed, that's obviously in an ideal position for the Eight of Swords reversed to be in, because it's about opening up, expressing those vulnerabilities, no longer hesitating to express yourself. You're finally taking emotional risk, or even just opening yourself up to be hurt. And that's something that is good for a relationship. Sorry for any background noise, pile number 2. But as I said, this is, in a way, you know, it's stepping away from any outdated narratives. And I say this because when we get the Two of Swords and she is setting herself up to listen to her inner light and listen to her intuition, it's like she's resetting her mentality. You know, sometimes we get caught in a mental space where we think in this loop, like we have the same thoughts, we are believing the same, what's the word for it? The same narratives that we tell ourselves over and over again, and we never think to challenge those narratives. Well, the Two of Swords is you sitting down to actually challenge those perspectives. And in a way, you're coming from a place of humility with this relationship. And I believe they are as well, especially with the Knight of Pentacles reversed. Sometimes I get a little bit worried seeing the Knight of Pentacles reversed, but I'm looking at all the rest of the surrounding cards, and to me, it's showing like the Knight of Pentacles, instead of charging ahead, not that the Knight of Pentacles ever really charges ahead, but you know what I mean? He still moves forward. He's a knight. When he's reversed, sometimes he can be just like overly stubborn, but when we look at all these cards here, to me, it's like even the Knight of Pentacles is just like, maybe some things need to be recalculated or recalibrated. Maybe I'm approaching this a bit wrong. And so to me, it's like you are putting down these preconceived notions of what a relationship should be like, or how you might want to act in a relationship, or how you want to interact within a partnership, or what certain things mean. And you step out of that outdated narratives that you've created for yourself. You know, maybe it's like, I always get hurt, or I can't trust anyone, or if somebody sees me for the real me, then they won't like me, or something along the lines of that. That we all have some sort of unhealthy narrative that we might tell ourselves that we might need to check in with ourselves with. And it might be something constant, might just have to be like a tower moment. But either way, this relationship comes with those epiphanies, and no longer choosing to anchor yourself from a place of fear. And that's what I like to see. It really does show that you too are creating a beautiful relationship with each other. Okay, that is what I love to see. So this to me feels like, number one, your friends might be asking about, you know, who it is that you're dating, etc. They're texting you, you're meeting up for brunch, and you're not giving too much. You know, you let them know about the relationship. You know, you say he's a good person, or she's a good person, whatever, whoever you're into, right? But you're not going into all of the, we fought over da 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 the other day, right? Unless it's something serious, you might just want their opinion. But like, but you're not given every sort of in and out of the relationship and every detail. That's just not happening. Not with the High Priestess there. Not with the Two of Swords there. And the Eight of Swords, like I said, they're opening up. But the Eight of Swords is not the card of I'm telling you the tea. You know, like that's not it. It's really not that card. This is also like you pulling away from outside opinions, like, oh, I don't think he or she really is all that great if they haven't given you 10 dozen roses. And what do you mean they haven't paid for all of your Ubers? And what do you, like, okay. You're pulling away from all of that. And I'm just throwing examples out there. Like, if those are standards you set for yourself, I think that's more than okay. But if that's not something you're vibing with and you're just being influenced by friends, within this relationship, you're going to be able to check in and see which one is you and which one is under the influence of maybe the people around you. This is also allowing yourself to just give the relationship a very fair chance. And instead of focusing on what can go wrong, you are living in the moment and approaching the situation with a clear mindset and understanding what is actually happening. And I do like this Knight of Pentacles, because to me this is like checking yourself and saying, like, you know what, I have a tendency to do XYZ, and that might be self-sabotage to my relationship. So actually, let's try things a new way. This is what I said. I think it's the great thing, the great aspect of the Knight of Pentacles, where it's like I'm recalculating, I'm resetting my boundaries. One thing I love about the Knight of Pentacles, because I've seen it recently too, I've seen it more than recently, but I've seen it a few times to come up for like us getting to know each other's boundaries, right? Getting to know, like, for example, let's say your partner likes to go to bed at 10 p.m., but you're a night owl, you know? And so you're like calling them at midnight, and they're like, at first they might put up with it because they like you. But then it gets to the point where they're a little bit irritated. And so they're just like, stop calling me at midnight. They're probably going to say a lot nicer than what I said there, right? But they're like, please, like, I just need to go rest. I need my 8 hours of sleep. I get up early in the morning. I have to get up at 6. Like, I can't do these midnight calls anymore, right? And at first, maybe you find it upsetting because you want to talk to them. You want to spend time with them, and it feels like they're rejecting you or shutting you out. But then you check in and you're just like, you know what? Actually, I feel like maybe I should actually consider their perspective. And if they've set this boundary and it's not like they are outright rejecting me or they don't want to spend time with me, it's just that they want 8 hours of sleep. And these are the moments that I see with the Knight of Pentacles reverse. It's like trying to understand what's best for this person, what's best for that person, and trying to find that balance, okay? And so that's generally what this relationship is looking like. This is a very healthy relationship, I think. I think that you guys are having a lot of honest moments and conversations, and, you know, you're not holding back. The Eight of Swords is the shy person who's scared to even say I like you, but when it's reversed, it's like I like you, and because I like you, you know, it made me feel uncomfortable, or it made me sad, or you're like, you know, it's not blame statements. It's coming from those I statements, and it's coming from a kind, open, and vulnerable place. You know, as they say, vulnerability is a superpower, and I think you guys are doing a great job at enacting it. Now, the cards aren't going too much into the day-to-day as much here, but I can say with the Knight of Pentacles, that does reversed. That does come with a lot of changes to routines and trying to get to know each other. Like, for example, like early on, maybe you guys go on a date once a week, then maybe it's like, okay, now you're seeing each other twice a week, and it's just a lot of differences. It's just a lot of changeability here and adjustments. You know, maybe you guys used to text a lot, now you call or you Zoom or something like that. In terms of, I'm focusing on communication because of, you know, there's swords right next to the Knight of Pentacles. And then it could just be something like, you know, we used to go out and go to dinner, but now we do more activities together. You know, those are the types of things that can happen with the swords around those pentacles. But generally, it's not a stable, consistent routine when you see this at all. The vibe will change at some point, not in like a bad way. It's just like the routine. Maybe I shouldn't say the vibe will change. The routine will change. There we go. And that's what's going to happen. But yeah, you guys get to see each other's softer side. You guys seem very sweet. The Queen of Cups is obviously a very caring and loving card. Very emotionally mature pile we have here. I don't know what else I could add to this relationship. But you guys do seem to be very open. Both of you more than likely will be a little bit more intuitive and paying attention to those subtle cues, just because the whole top row is like this extremely intuitive. The High Priestess is intuition, the Two of Swords is intuition, the Queen of Cups is known for their intuition. So both of you have this very strong intuition. If you were dating a man, he's very much in touch with his feminine side. So there's that. And I'm just going to end it there. And if this resonates, let me know. Don't forget, if you would like a private reading with me and maybe you want to expand on this relationship or some other questions, I am more than open to do so. And then also, if you want to catch me on the live sessions, live every weekend. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Don't forget, I post every Thursday, and I hope to see you there. And don't forget, if you want to... if you like my reading style and you are curious about the monthlies and predictive days ahead, some people like this style, 7 days ahead, a week ahead, a month ahead, you know what I'm talking about. Don't forget to join the membership. You know, I do those type of things for the memberships. I would do it on my normal channel, but YouTube punishes me for it. So yeah, check it out. I love those videos. I know some people also love those videos. I think you guys will like it. But you know, if not, you don't have to stay there, but I would love if you did. I'd love if you stayed, loved if you subscribed, loved if you liked, loved if you hit the bell, and I'll see you next time. Au revoir. Hey pal, number 3, what will your next relationship look like? We have the 10 of Swords combined with the 10 of Wands. Very intense imagery. I don't think I've seen that one before. We have the Page of Cups on the Before Tarot deck. And on this one, we have the bird dropping off the fish in the cup. We have the World card, but instead of one individual, we have 2. And this is on the Before Tarot deck. Then we have the 10 of Wands again. What's going on, pal? Number 3. And the 4 of Cups reverse. That 10 of Wands energy wants to be known. Okay, this may be one of those instances where spirit, the universe, is more so giving advice rather than saying, okay, this is exactly what's going to happen. It's more so, which is in line with how I view tarot. It gives you the most likely scenarios and possibilities. Now, what it's saying here is that you might be used to carrying the load within your romantic partnerships or your dating scenarios, or any sort of flirtations even. Sometimes it can feel like a one-way crush, right? You know, unrequited love in a sense. And it feels as though, because maybe, and if you don't resonate with this, feel free to choose a new pile. Or maybe I'm not the reader for you. But if you have been someone who has been maybe doing all the emotional work, making all the plans, coming up with the ideas, facilitating a lot of the different aspects of a relationship, the cards are saying that, you know, you might even be bringing that into your next relationship, because it might be something that you are just used to doing. And so the cards are kind of wanting you to pause and essentially think about certain behaviors that you might be having that could contribute to you feeling a bit overwhelmed, or just a bit like, ooh, this is a lot of work within a relationship. And if we take all of that, you know, out of the picture, this actually could be a really great relationship. What's coming for you, I want to say, if you learn to sort of let someone else carry the burden here, this World card, then you'll no longer feel as though you want to escape or run away, or, you know, feel the sense of dissatisfaction within a relationship. You'll want to invest in what you already have and the beautiful opportunity in front of you. But, you know, if you continue to, like I say, carry sort of the load and the burden and feel as if, you know, you have to pull things forward and you're carrying everything on your back, and, you know, you want this relationship to work so bad, but, you know, they're barely giving anything, then yeah, it's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be stressful, you know. I mean, not a total nightmare, but it's just going to be very stressful. You're not going to be satisfied within the relationship. But there are beautiful things coming if, like I said, you decide to change direction when it comes to that. And then for some of you, this can just be more so of like an emotional thing that you might be carrying. Sometimes we carry the wounds of our past with us. I mean, look at this Ten of Swords character. He is bleeding all over the place. Like, he is really on his last leg. He doesn't look like he's going to last much longer. Things are really tough here. The imagery is very, very stark. And to me, it feels as though maybe you've been through a lot of different betrayals. Maybe you've been through a lot of different hurtful circumstances, disappointments, neglect, just bad behavior when it comes to the love department. But the thing is, when we're looking at these cards here, they're saying that yes, there's beautiful opportunities for you that can come, that are going to unfold, that are going to be more refreshing, lighter, things that feel more supportive and kinder. And it doesn't feel as if this is this torturous energy you need to get out of. Like, you know, this Ten of Swords can feel as though you've gone through someone like lying to you, or someone who is, and, you know, worst case scenario, you know, abusive, but like, you know, that ideally hopefully that's not happened. But the Ten of Swords, Ten of Wands combination is very dark, you know, and it can just feel as though you haven't had those partners who've been truly in your corner, you know. Like I said, they've just been throwing knives in your back. And what's coming up is, if you manage to let go of that sort of feeling that of jadedness, or even just hurt, or work through any psychological, I guess I'll say baggage because I can't think of another word, but I just hate using that word, but psychological, maybe, I don't know, hang up sounds tough either, but you know, we all have challenges, right? Like if we carry hurt with us, and it can cause us to shoot ourselves in the foot as we move forward. And that's kind of like what these cards are saying, the feeling is saying within them. And it's saying if you're managed to work through that, you can find something that is very beautiful, very kind, very loving. Don't come from this place of trust issues or betrayal. Like, obviously use your best judgment. Trust yourself as well. You don't have to question everything that you do. This Ten of Swords character combined with the Ten of Wands is probably like, why did I even put myself in this situation? How could I do this? Like, no. We let all of that go. We have a lighter perspective. We come at it from a place of care and affection. Look at the World card here on the Before Tarot deck. They're embracing each other. They are tackling the world together. They feel at one. They feel at peace. It's not just, hey, you know, I'm super successful. I've mastered everything. It's like, you know what? We're in this together, you know, on the Before Tarot deck. It's like you need that support. You need that leg up. And I think that's coming for you. Like, I think that support is coming for you. And I think if we're looking at these cards and it's saying how things are going to unfold, because maybe you haven't had that sense of someone having your back, it might feel overwhelming. Sometimes people say that, you know, when they go from unhealthy relationships or partnerships or connections or whatever, even just like one-sided connections where it feels like, you know, you haven't had that love reciprocated, it can just feel overwhelming at first, and you don't know what to do with it, and you're suspicious of it, and you're like, I don't know. Like, and so the cards are saying, yeah, you might feel a little bit overwhelmed within this new relationship, but it's actually going to be healthy. It's going to be good. The Four of Cups reverse, love to see it, shows that you are engaged, shows that this is something that is taking you out of your shell, that something is, you know, reigniting a sense of passion and spark within your soul. You feel connected to this person. You feel as though they are adding something to your life. It's something you can't ignore, something that's beautiful, and feels as if it's an opportunity to take advantage of, which I know sounds very contractual, but like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, it just feels like, okay, this relationship seems to be coming at the right timing. And you know what? I'm not going to allow the things that happened in the past to change or to stop me from going for it. And so what I want to say is this next relationship is obviously very supportive. You guys are going to go through a lot together, 100%, but it feels as though this person has your back and they care for you. There's a lot of very cute moments. The cards aren't saying, you know, whether this is forever or, you know, for tomorrow, whatever. Maybe a couple of months, a year's rest of your life. It doesn't matter. The cards are just kind of focusing more so on like, you're going to go through these transformative periods together. The World card represents a new stage, an ending, something that feels as if you're going to look back on that relationship and say, wow, that was successful. Even if it doesn't work out, you know, it's just like, this was something that needed to happen. And that's the feeling of this relationship here. So I don't know what else I can add here for you guys. Pile number 3, very different from the rest of the piles. I will say that, but then sometimes the universe has different messages for different piles. But I do feel like this is a very supportive and nurturing relationship. Just, you know, heed the advice of spirit. And if you can't relate to it, choose a new pal, a new reader. Either way, I'm very happy you stopped by. If you like the way I read, feel free to get a private reading. I often offer Vedic chart readings. And I also, do tarot, of course, you know. So feel free to go through my Etsy or my forum. Either way, if you Etsy has certain payment options. In the forum, you can go through PayPal or Etsy or Cash App. So let me know. It depends on your payment options. And then also, you can catch me on the live. I go live on the weekends. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Time will be posted on the community tab by Tuesday night Eastern Standard Time. And I think that's it. I'm going to end that for now. I hope to see you guys next week, next time. Au revoir. Hey, pal number 4. Let's get into what your next relationship would look like. We have the Author Edward Waite tarot deck. We have the 5 of Swords, and this is on the Before Tarot deck. Very intense. They are gearing up and battling. We have the King of Pentacles, and this is on the Before Tarot deck. We have the Death card, and we have the Strength card. And we would reverse this because it's following the Swords. And he is on the Before Tarot deck as well. And let's get into this. So, what will this next relationship look like? I love that we got the Author Edward Waite card for this because it's very reflective of the Magician. And we know that the Rider-Waite deck is one of the most famous decks for tarot card reading. And Author Edward Waite was the one who commissioned the deck for Pamela... I think it's Pamela Smith. Hopefully I'm not saying her name wrong, where she has the beautiful drawings that we all know so well. And to me, what the cards are symbolizing is essentially you are someone who is going to play a huge role within what this relationship looks like. I know that sounds pretty much like, duh, Brandi. Of course, that is what I'm going to play a role in what the relationship looks like. It's my relationship. But sometimes circumstances seem a bit faded. And sometimes we go through relationships and we don't have a subconscious or a conscious understanding of our actions or our feelings. And we don't think too heavily and deeply about it. But this shows me a level of self-awareness that you are moving into your next relationship with. And thus you are able to maybe more effectively navigate certain conflicts. And I mentioned conflicts because there's this 5 of Swords here that maybe so in the past you may have had a little bit of trouble with. Now this King of Pentacles reverse, to me, when I look at these cards, I don't think this is gloom and doom. I don't think the 5 of Swords and the King of Pentacles reverse is, you know, indicative of anything that is too negative. I think this just means that you can see things coming and you already know how things are going to play out because of your experience, because of you have this strong sense of self-awareness that when you start to see things bubbling up, you're like, okay, in the past, I've done X, Y, and Z. This time, I think I'm going to try something different. And we know this because we have the King of Pentacles reversed. And when we get the King of Pentacles reversed, sometimes it can represent, you know, doubling down on something that's not that great. But in this context, because it's death follows it, it represents that you are going into your relationship with a different perspective. One thing that I notice about the Pentacle cards in particular is they really stress boundaries, like boundaries and rules and structures in a relationship. It doesn't sound fun, doesn't sound romantic, but every relationship has some sort of framework that they work within. For example, you know, you might have a boundary of just like, hey, I prefer you not to call me after 10 p.m. Like that's your boundary because you like to get up early or you like to go to bed early, whatever the case may be. And when we talk about these sort of boundaries, maybe in the past, things got a little bit maybe tense or it was hard to find those compromises or, you know, it was hard to communicate the best way to reiterate those boundaries. Like, you know, I feel more comfortable when, or when you... I'm trying to think of an example within a relationship. Or I would feel more comfortable if you spoke to me in this manner. Or, you know, I really don't want any cursing within our relationship. Or I respond better when you open up to me about how you feel about certain things, because that gives me a better understanding of your perspective and it helps me not to jump to conclusions. If you're somebody like, let's say, this is just an example, and I'm not saying this is you in any case, I'm just giving an example that's coming to mind. Like, let's say you're somebody with an insecure attachment style, right? Generally, if you have an insecure attachment style, I don't care if it is avoidant, I don't care if it's fearful, I don't care if it's anxious. these attachment styles need a lot of reassurance, okay? They need a lot of reaffirming that you are into them, that you like them, that you care about them. And so setting a boundary would be like, hey, sometimes, you know, I am going to feel a bit insecure about the fact that maybe you might leave me. Like you miss a call when you say you're going to call. That makes me feel as though you're not reliable, that you're not that into me, and that this relationship is doomed and it's going no, etc. You know, like the insecure attachment styles can spiral in this way, right? And you might have to be more upfront, or you might approach this relationship with being more upfront about those boundaries and saying, hey, you know, this may happen, and when this does happen, this is how I need reassurance, you know, or I'm just a person who needs that type of reassurance, right? And in doing so, you stop these conflicts from bubbling up and get into this place of intensity and resentment or contempt or anything along the lines of that, and you're able to effectively create deep intimacy within your relationship. When I see the Death card here, and when I see the Author Edward Waite card, which is in this case connected to the Magician, that's Mercury ruled, and the Death card is connected to Scorpio. And so you can look at this as being Mercury and Scorpio. And so you're having conversations about things that are intimate, about things that feel vulnerable, about things that make you feel a little bit exposed. And then on a less emotional level, this relationship looks like talking about finances, looks like talking about money, the things that people may not talk about, right? It's just like, those things can come across as very alarming to people because that's not the normal conversations. You don't normally just start talking to somebody when you're dating and say, hey, what do your spending habits look like? You know what I mean? But to me, it feels as though these conversations are happening up front, or maybe a lot earlier than you normally would have them, so that you guys remain in alignment and you have that structure, that strong framework, that strong sense of comfort and security and stability within your relationships, okay? It feels like, okay, this next relationship feels very, very much sustainable. It's about reducing friction. It's about mitigating any assumptions before they can happen, okay? It's no longer feeling like I'm just going to go with the flow. There is no flow. You're creating that flow. That is what this Author Edward Waite card is talking about here. Okay, this is what I am talking about here. And for me, when I see this, especially when I see the Strength card here, this is definitely sticking to your guns here, okay? You know, if this person, which I doubt they will, but, you know, if it comes up, if this person repeatedly disregards, you know, like the scenario I gave, your timing arrangements, like they're calling you after 10, then you're like, hey, you know, I don't think I can deal with this. You know, I need a relationship. I need to be in a relationship with someone who respects those communication boundaries, who respects my communication styles, who says, okay, I'm fine with disagreeing and that's fine, but raised voices are not fine, right? It's like, you need to be with someone who is going to honor that. And I really feel like this relationship looks like that. And that's something I want to put an emphasis on. Sorry if that was very long-winded, but that's, I wanted to give enough information so that it was clear. But I really do feel as though this is not about policing any behavior. It really is just preventing that sense of ambiguity that can lead to misunderstandings, that can lead to dysfunction if it goes unchecked. And to me, I feel as though, okay, you're in a relationship that is able to move through it. One thing that I love about this as well, a Strength card connects to Leo. So not only are you having this maybe deep, vulnerable conversations that can feel a little bit uncomfortable, but also you're having fun conversations. You have a lot of joking here. You have a lot of excitement. You have someone who can keep your interest piqued. This can also represent someone who will cheerlead you in terms of like building skills. If you're like, babe, I've always wanted to learn how to play the flute. And they're like, you know what? Go ahead and play the flute. Let me go look up some classes and stuff like that. And maybe I'll join you in that. You know, I've always wanted to learn how to play the guitar or something like that. And then you guys are, you know, learning to play instruments together. But it really is about cheering you on when it comes to your creative pursuits, any interests, anything that you like to do for fun. If we look at what Mercury in Leo means, it's connected to being able to communicate about the things that you love. And it's being able to spend a lot of free time together. There's a lot of fun and exciting dates, okay? I know we talked about the reducing the conflicts, and that sounds heavy, and building the intimacy, but there really is a lot of fun dates when we talk about Mercury being in Leo, and with the Strength card here. And then it also shows that you guys have a lot of patience and understanding with each other. It feels as if that you two are expressing a lot of enthusiasm towards each other, planning activities, keeping it very playful. You're talking about what excites you, what you want to do next, what you want to build, what the future looks like for both of you, and actually creating that world, because we have this card of creation. You know, it shows a lot of follow through on your actions. And the thing about the Strength card that I love to see within a relationship, it's like, when we go through trials and tribulations, we become stronger because of it. Now, hopefully the relationship and the people within it are not the trials and tribulations, but when you are given those trials and tribulations, you two grow stronger together. And it really does show a beautiful connection here where you both feel supported. Obviously, there is a feeling of reducing work when you come together. Like maybe one person is a little bit more of a workaholic, but when you guys come together, to me it feels like this person, or maybe both of you, will pull back from that mindset, and you focus more so on the love and the beautiful liveliness of this relationship, going to the comedy shows, going to the concerts, going to those interactive events, saying, hey, there's a photo booth, let's take a picture, let's try a sip and paint, or, you know, let's do some sort of weekend trip. You know, it's very fun, it's very exciting, it's lovely, you know. I mean, it's just a really nice and joyful relationship, and it seems healthy, and it seems like there is a lot of deep love and fulfillment there. So that's what your next relationship looks like about number 4. Hopefully that resonates. You know, if not, you know, feel free to choose a new pile, or maybe I'm not the reader for you, but to me, it feels like, you know, you have the love that you need, and you're sharing it with someone, and they're sharing that love back, and it will get to the place where you're both expressing those feelings very much openly, and letting your guard down, and not making any assumptions, negative assumptions about each other, and just being open to the experience of love and connection. So that is what I have, and hopefully that resonates. If not, like I said, feel free to choose a new pal or new reader. If you want a private reading by me and you like my reading style, link it can be found in the description bar below. You can go through the form, or you can check out my Etsy shop. And also, you know, I go live on the weekend. The time is posted on the community tab, Eastern Standard Time, by Tuesday night. And on the community tab, you can also vote on different polls. I love getting to know you guys, and also I love hearing your opinion about tarot, about astrology. So I'll ask questions along those lines, and sometimes I ask random questions, though I particularly like to save those for the lives. Also on the lives, you can find the weekly collective, so you can get a forecast on what's going to be happening for us collectively as we look ahead next week. And then also I think that might be it for now. Be on the lookout for any discounts for the month of December, because I think that's when this is premiering for private readings. And I will see you next time. Au revoir. Hey, beautiful single. Pile number 5. Let's get into what your next relationship will look like. We have Strength and Justice. We have the Four of Swords. On this is the Before Tarot deck. Interesting. You can see the little butterflies. And you have the Nine of Wands on the Before Tarot deck. You see the wolf. We have the Five of Cups reverse and the Queen of Pentacles. Granted, I'm reading a little bit different today. Normally, I only reverse the Pentacles, Swords, and Water and Fire. But whatever, I'm blabbing on too much. Let's get into your reading. So what does your next relationship look like, singles? We have Justice and the Strength card coming together on the Shuffle Tarot deck. Love that, you know, because those cards often get, you know, switched around in decks. And so to me, it's showing that this next relationship is embodying both of the qualities of strength and justice. What does that mean? It means that you guys are having to talk through issues. You guys are having to have those mature adult conversations. You are going to have to speak through any sort of conflicts. And also it's about being open and no longer hiding yourself. You know, Strength card here is all about taming the inner beast in a way. And sometimes you can connect Strength card to taming the inner beast from a psychological perspective and working on self-discipline and self-mastery in a way. And that is going to be a part of this relationship. It doesn't sound fun, but it actually is something that's very important that you're learning through this relationship. Now, on the card here, we have 11 numerology wise, and normally 11 represents to like highly imaginative, extremely sensitive, a lot of emotional and spiritual awareness, you know, being able to bridge the spiritual and physical worlds. So there's a sense of intense sensitivity within this relationship. And I just feel as though, number one, it could be quite literal in the sense where it feels like you two are coming from different worlds. Maybe you're more spiritual. Maybe they're more grounded in the material and you guys are combining and coming together. But this can also just represent that you both have a good balance in this relationship between spiritual connection and also being practical and saying, hey, we got to pay bills too. We can meditate all we want and we can connect to our higher versions of ourselves, but we also have to keep the lights on, right? So I really do feel like that's the balance that is coming in here when we're looking at that master number. I feel as though this relationship is really about connecting to a higher version of yourself. Like you're really bringing out the best in each other. At least that's what I see when I look at these cards. And then one thing that I see when I look at Justice is this card that is like, you know, you reap what you sow, right? And what you put in, what you put out. So if you were putting in good energy and good vibes towards this relationship, then that is exactly what you're going to get out. And this can also represent a little bit of like this karmic taste to it, where maybe you in the past have experienced XYZ or acted in XYZ way, and this could apply to them as well. And throughout this relationship, you have things coming up that you're like, oh, wait a minute. Now the shoe's a little bit on the other foot, and I can sort of see this person's perspective, you know, when it comes to certain things. And, oh, that was what was going on in my last relationship. There may be some aha moments like that. I only say that because I can often get this Strength card to connect to these moments of, as I was saying before, self-reflection and self-mastery, which we don't really say too much with the Strength card, but that is part of the element of strength. You know, it's about, what's the word? not the opposite of instant gratification. And often pulling away from instant gratification means confronting the internal structures or emotional wounds that are causing you to self-sabotage in a way. I didn't mean for this to be a therapy session. I don't know what's going on here, but that is essentially what I'm trying to say here. What I'm trying to say is that you may be addressing those things within this relationship. So what does it look like? It looks like addressing any form of self-sabotage, being honest with yourself, and maybe even having some karmic moments come up that makes you see things from a different perspective throughout this relationship. Now, one thing I love about this is on the Before Tarot deck, you know, this person, they have these butterflies going out of the window here. Very peaceful. You can see that everything around them is within harmony. It gives this feeling of like when you first sit down to go take a nap, because that's what this looks like. It looks like it's daylight here. And you're taking a little nap, you're relaxing, and you're closing your eyes, and there's this moment of just heavenly peace. And I really do feel like that is a central part of your relationship. It doesn't feel like you have to be on your guard all the time. All the time, okay? There is this feeling of relaxation when you're with each other. It feels comfortable. It doesn't feel strenuous. It doesn't feel awkward. It doesn't feel like, oh, this person makes me nervous. Not to say that if you feel that way, it's wrong. But it feels like a good sense of butterflies, you know, like an exciting, sort of like an excitement, but like a quiet excitement. Like, oh, I just feel like I found someone who I can be very comfortable with, okay? But one thing I do notice when we have this Nine of Wands and they are gearing up to defend themselves against this wolf, like, you know, on the normal tarot deck with the Nine of Wands, they've got the bandage on their head, they've got the wounds. And this is the Before Tarot deck where you see them fighting off this wolf where they're like, get away from me. I've got to defend myself. They were trying to secure the fort and this wolf comes through. Now they got to fight this wolf. To me, what I'm getting here with this relationship, number one, it kind of goes back to what I was saying before, where we're eliminating behaviors that are self-sabotage, but then also it goes into like this external factor thing where, to me, I feel as though there may be even some interference within the relationship, because sometimes I get the Nine of Wands to represent like you have to defend yourself against others. So there's an element of this relationship where you guys are peaceful, you're loving, you feel good about each other, but you might have to defend yourself against others who may have expectations for your relationships, who may be jealous of your relationship, who may just not wish you well within your relationship. And I'm not trying to scare you or cause you anxiety or stress, but I don't think I would be doing you a service as a tarot reader to not bring that up, because, you know, if I look at the imagery and then I see what the Nine of Wands represents and I know what it represents, it's hard for me to say, you know what, everything's great. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's a stressful situation. And so when I'm seeing that, you know, maybe this is like, okay, an ex is resurfacing. And I say that because we have this Five of Cups, right? You know, an ex is resurfacing, causing drama. Or maybe there's some work-related stress that is like bleeding into the relationship. Or, you know, the wolf is not necessarily maybe symbolizing the partner, but like I said, the outside noise that intrudes on your relationship. Maybe your friends, they like have some sort of bias against your partner. They're like, oh, you don't seem like you want to be with that person, etc. You know, things along the lines of that. And they are projecting their own ideas of what's right, what's wrong, or what should be best for you within a relationship. I can get the Nine of Wands to represent quite often people who are defending their positions, in particular, their beliefs. And so to me, it can feel as though this outside wolf is somebody who has a certain belief system that may not necessarily align with your belief system or what is right for you and your partnership, and they may be causing some interference. All right, just want to throw that out there. Not saying that this is going to, destroy the relationship by any means. Just want that to be known. And, speaking of what the example I gave before, like I said, with the ex, or maybe some past, situations coming up, I do say this quite often, and you can go back and look at my weekly collectives where the 5 of Wands reverse particularly comes up when you have to go back and revisit a few things. It's like the milk has spilt and it's time to clean it up. That type of energy. And to me, it may feel as though like maybe for somebody, this has been an issue before, and this may just be a small percentage of you. Maybe you've had someone in your life who's kind of been a little bit of a hater when it came to your relationships or other aspects of your life before. And this 5 of Cups is just like, ooh, during this relationship, you're going to have to clean house. But just wanted to throw that in there. I do feel as though this particular relationship is very much about, I don't know, to me this relationship looks karmic because there's so many elements of having to rewrite certain situations. Because I say this rewrite because I often get the justice card to represent like patterns coming up so that you can address them and deal with them to actually course correct. And then the 5 of Cups has a similar meaning, and these cards are placed, right on top of each other, or at least justice is placed right on top of the 5 of Cups reversed. And it's this feeling of just like, there's some things that I have a pattern of in the past that I need to address. For example, maybe you have a pattern of dating a certain type and you come across this type in your next relationship. Maybe you get in a relationship with this person who's like similar to your past types. And it's like, well, now you're finally addressing what it is that attracts you about that type. Or you are unraveling some subconscious, I don't want to say soul contract, but unraveling some sort of habitual pattern that needs to go away and needs to be let go of so that you can get into a stronger place of feeling more secure within your relationships and feeling more supported. But, this pattern could really be anything. Trying to me think of something that could really connect with this. Like, for example, maybe in the past relationship, you have some communication blind spots. Like maybe you shut down during arguments. And this comes up again. And this relationship is like, oh, wait, I find myself in the same situation again. Like, maybe I need to address this. And I'm talking about more self-behavior, but it doesn't have to be particularly you that is that is having to course correct. But I guess I talk more so about like you as the individual astronauts, just because we can only control ourselves, so it's not really coming from a place of blame and this is all you doing things. It's just more so like I can only talk to you guys because you guys are the ones that can control yourselves. That's it. I can't talk to your future partner. But these are the things that I'm talking about. Like certain patterns may come up, and Justice card is like, I need to bring your attention to this. And so I feel like this relationship has that. Maybe that pattern rewarded you in the past, but now you're finding it to be detrimental. That happens all the time. Sometimes it causes us to just have to break those cycles and move on. Like how people, they were in a family, and maybe they're a big family, and they have to talk all over each other. And so they have to cut each other off and to speak up, to be heard, right? And it worked in the past with their family, but then as they move forward in the future, it's actually quite detrimental to keep cutting people off and talking over them and trying to speak up and getting your voice in. It's like, It's very, very much not a great habit to have. So that is what I'm talking about. Things that might have worked in the past may feel like they're coming down on you. But let's get into the fun stuff. Great relationship. We have the Queen of Pentacles here. Very supportive, very caring, very nurturing. Very much shows me that you have a partner who wants you to take care of yourself, who will help you take care of yourself. Maybe they're booking those massage appointments for you. They're paying for you. They're giving you those gift cards to get those facials, you know. They're like, hey, become a member. I'll pay for your membership. You need to relax, babe. Like, whatever the case. Like, the Queen of Pentacles shows that you have a relationship in which you both feel like you have space to not only enjoy each other, but to enjoy the things that you like to do, to take care of yourself. You encourage each other to take care of yourself and to live healthy, beautiful lives, whatever that looks like for you. And it's a good balance of having fun, of whatever, taking walks, taking jogs, if you like doing that. The Queen of Pentacles is really just like what you like doing, and it feels good to you, and it feels like self-care, and it feels like it's putting you in a good emotional and mental and physical space as well. But it's also about like making sure that you are both unburdening each other. There's a sense of mutual respect, especially for the Queen of Pentacles. She likes her routine, you know, like she's very much like, you know what, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to bake my pie at the beginning of the day or in the afternoon. And I'm going to do that, you know, twice a month, and I don't want anyone to disrupt my routine. And to me, this shows like, oh, you respect each other's routines. And maybe there's some adjustments here with the Five of Cups, whatever, but for the most part, you both have created a great space for each other. It just feels really nurturing, you know. To me, it shows like a very high quality of life. Like, you improve each other's lives. You make sure that things are less hard for each other. You know, you help each other through any trials and tribulations. If you get a flat tire, they're there to say, all right, you know, I'll pick you up, let me help you out, you know, I can help drive you to work, etc. Like, it's this feeling of like, let's do our best to support each other. We're in this together mindset, especially when we're talking about the Queen of Pentacles. And also the Queen of Pentacles has really great boundaries. You know, you both have your own lives. You both have your space to recharge. Neither one of you feel like you're being overextended within the relationship. This just feels good, okay? So that is what I want to say for you, pal number 5. It looks to me like you both are very stable. You're very happy. You like how you guys are coming together and making room for each other. Very, very strong relationship, I'll say, okay? It's like, hey, you have space to take care of yourself, and then I'm here to make it easier. And you both feel like you're saying that to each other. But if you like my reading style, feel free to get a private reading from me. And remember, Justice connects to Libra, which is all about relationships and long-term commitments towards each other, as well as finding a good balance. So that is what I'm emphasizing here with the balance in the relationships. And the Strength card connects to Leo, fun, enjoyment, your heart. Also having to do with what I said before with self-discipline and self-mastery and creativity. So your creativity is sparked within the relationship as well. Do want to mention that. But yeah, let me close this out. And I think that this is really fantastic here. Lots of love, romance, and commitment. But as I was saying, if you want a private reading from me, link can be found in the description bar below. You can go through Etsy or my booking form. If you want to come live with me and be a part of the weekly collective and get to choose what's going to be happening next, or at least pick a card for our weekly collective in the forecast, come and join me there. It is interactive for everyone. I love having your participation. And then also don't forget to check out the polls. You know, speaking of participation, I want to get to know you guys better. So feel free to answer those polls. I have plenty of questions for you based on astrology, tarot, and then sometimes just random stuff and even what you want to see next on this channel. And I think I will leave it there for you guys. And I'll see you next time. Au revoir.